New York Yankees Marriott scorecard. New York Yankees getting ready to open a series with the Boston Red Sox here tonight at beautiful Fenway Park. And it's a night that is punctuated by the return of the manager, Joe Torre. Quite a day here in Boston. Well, Joe Torre, we'll tell you more about him in a second. Let me tell you who's pitching tonight, because it is a huge pitching matchup. David Cone going against Pedro Martinez, two Cy Young winners from the past, both working with Cy Young stuff in the 1999 season. Now let's get right down to cases with the manager. Joe Torre did indeed decide today was the day he was coming back to manage his ball club. It has been an emotional roller coaster for the Yankee manager from the end of the World Series last year. Of course, Joe Torre guiding this team to that record season, 125 wins, and of course the memorable four-game sweep against the San Diego Padres. And then, of course, the announcement that he would not start the season with the team, but an appearance in uniform at Yankee Stadium to collect his championship wares from the 1998 season. Still the surgery. On March the 18th, Joe Torre had to patiently sit and watch and wait until he felt healthy enough to come back to this ball club. And he is indeed healthy enough. And he called George Steinbrenner this morning to let the manager, that the owner, know that he was indeed healthy. A wonderful call indeed, because it basically began, are you going to Boston today? And Joe Torre said, well, I'm going.
I'm back, and you're asking me back to stay, and this is, this is what I want to be doing, and I'm glad it's finally here.
How does it feel to be back in uniform?
It feels great. I mean, the only time I was in uniform is when I went out to get my World Series ring, and today I flew up with Mr. Steinbrenner from New York, and we got in about 2 o'clock, and I was here before anybody else, which is really what I wanted. So when the players come in one at a time, three at a time, they saw me in uniform, and this was something they hadn't seen for a while, and that's the way I pretty much wanted to break it, like that, word of mouth.
Did you feel like a kid right now, or what is going through you?
I'm looking forward to the game. I mean, that's going to be the most fun, because I know at home you can run to the refrigerator and get whatever you want, but this is where I want to be. You know what I miss? I miss sitting on the bench, and because you watch games on TV, and it's fun and all, but once the player disappears in the dugout, you lose him. When you're sitting here, you get that whole feedback. You get a feel for what's going on. Even though I'm the manager of this team, you still don't get a feel unless you're sitting with them and hearing them, because you sense stuff, body language, just comments they make, and because I can't be of any help unless I'm here.
So in that respect, was it sort of a blank slate for you if you come back? A blank slate?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I anticipate we win every time we put the uniform on, and that's the one thing you never want your ball club to lose is that feeling of confidence when they go out on the field. And I just hope, and we have a tough guy to do it against tonight. I just hope we can go out and grind it like we're capable of doing.
Do you feel like you have your finger on the pulse of the team right now?
Well, I do through Zim, because we've been together for 4 years, and we pretty much talk on a regular basis, and even during the season when I am managing, we constantly go back and forth. So I do, but again, I still miss the stuff that you make your own decisions on.
Sure. And touch on that slightly helpless feeling, seeing them lose. What do you think you would have said or done if you did?
Not a whole lot. The only thing you do is pat them on the rear end and let them know you believe in them, because that's, they say, when you go through a losing streak, you sort of, you feel like you're losing that little bit of confidence every day, and you just want to make sure you reinsure and assure people that you have confidence in them. And that's probably the only thing I would have done, is just offer the support. I mean, managing is changing pitchers and hitting and running and change and strategy, I guess. But the most important thing, I think, is trying to have the players feel pretty good about themselves.
Joe Torre, obviously, in his news conference earlier in the dugout at Fenway Park. Now, Don Zimmer, not known what his feelings are, but there are plenty of reactions going around here at Fenway Park to the return of the Yankee manager, and I asked him about Don Zimmer and what his future will be with the team.
Well, called him up to 8 o'clock this morning. I was happy I found him in his room, because he's normally gone by 7. And I just asked him if he was ready to do the job that he was hired to do, and bench coach. And he said, I certainly am. And I said, well, I'll see you this afternoon.
You feel like it's a bit of relief on his part that you're back?
I think it is. And I'm happy. He's in Boston. He always loves this city. I know his wife is here with him. He has a daughter that lives in New Hampshire. And I think he can probably enjoy the visit here now a little bit more for the few days than having to sit where I am right now.
And obviously, you'd like to see him stay.
Oh, no question. I mean, he's very important for me, and especially now, and getting myself back in action again to have him sitting next to me. And I'm glad his leg feels, and I'm glad his leg feels better. And I'm sure, if it starts barking on him again, he's going to probably do something else. But right now, we'll just take what we get.
Said Chambliss has the lineup card tonight. When are you going to get back in action with regard to that?
I don't normally take it out anyway. Chris has taken it out. I'll take it out. Hopefully we go to the playoffs, the first game or whatever of the postseason. But I don't know. Sometimes if we lose a few games, I'll go out and take it out. There's nothing scientific about what we do.
I can tell you the fans would love to see you at home when you do it.
Well, I may do it at home. Because the fans have been very supportive, and the number of letters and cards and flowers and candy and whatever else, but mostly the supportive stuff. I had a note handed to me last night. My wife and I were having dinner in the city, and it wasn't even signed. The woman handed it to me. She says, I'm not a baseball fan, but you look good, and we're planning, looking forward to having you come back, and all that stuff. It was very touching. Just handed it to me and just walked away. But that's the way the support has come.
The essence of Joe Torre, lots of raw emotion. He is no doubt thrilled to be back. And if you had been with us about an hour ago, you would have seen some of the fans here giving him a warm ovation, welcoming him back. When we come back, we'll find out how the Yankees and their owner feels about the return of Joe Torre. Yankee baseball coming up on Metro.
You are watching the New York Marriott Marquis Yankee Scorecard. The New York Marriott Marquis, Broadway's biggest hit.
Welcome back to Fenway Park, site of this year's All-Star Game and site of tonight's series opener between the Yankees and the Red Sox, the site of Joe Torre's return for the 1999 season. And earlier today, Joe called his boss and said, George Steinbrenner, I'm getting ready to go back to work, so come on up to Boston and meet me. Well, as you might expect, the Yankee owner is elated with the decision that Joe Torre is back in control of the best franchise in baseball.
Makes me feel very good that he's back. I just wanted to be sure that he was ready, and that the doctors and everybody said okay. I didn't want him to rush it. He didn't, and he's back, and he's healthy, and that's the main thing. Baseball is this much in life. It really isn't that important. When you talk about a man's life and his health and his well-being, that's the important thing. The important thing that Joe Torre is well, he is back. That's the important thing for the team, for me, for everything. Everything else, when we found out about it, seemed pale by comparison. I mean, it didn't amount to anything, whether we won or we lost the games or what, when a man's life was talked about, or in question.
The owner is happy. The players are happy, too. Talked to Derek Jeter earlier in the Yankee clubhouse. Says, it's not a rah-rah thing, but it's just a feeling of normalcy that has returned to this ball club now that manager Joe Torre is indeed back. His Keystone partner, Chuck Knobloch, well, he shares pretty much the same sentiments.
I think it's outstanding. I think it's a day that everybody's been somewhat anticipating. We've got along pretty good without him, but, to have your manager back, it's a good thing. I mean, only positive things can come from it, and I think everybody's been looking forward to him coming back, which means that he's healthy again and that he's beat this cancer, and that's the most important thing.
When did you find out he was coming back?
Not till I got to the stadium today, and you kind of saw him, and then the word kind of filtered that he was coming back tonight. Tonight was his first game, and it's good.
So on top of all this, a big baseball game on tap tonight. Yankees just broke that losing streak. Now they're locked in a battle with the Red Sox for first place. We'll talk about ending the losing streak and tonight's game with that dandy pitching matchup when we return on Metro Guide. The anticipation builds here at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts. Cone against Martinez. Yankees and Red Sox coming up, separated by just a half game in the American League East. Well, New York Yankees tonight, they try and make it a 2-game winning streak. They had run into some tough times, dropped 5 in a row, but they ended the streak on Sunday against the Chicago White Sox. Take a look back at how that one all turned out. Of course, it was the last time that Mel Stottlemyre and Don Zimmer would be running the team, but they didn't know it then. They go out with a win, but it didn't look like it when Ray Durham led off the ball game with this triple to Death Valley in left center field. Now, after Durham wound up on third, Frank Thomas would bring him home on a ground out, and Chicago would have a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the second, the lead was short-lived. Chili Davis with the front wood to left center field. Mike Sorotka and the rest of the White Sox watch it go. Chili's 9th of the year. Yankees in front, 2-1. Fans in the Bronx loving the moment. Move to the top of the 6th, top of the 5th. Andy Pettitte nursed that lead. Big strikeout here, Frank Thomas. Frank didn't know what to do with that cutter. Andy was pumped up to end the 5th. Top of the 6th, runners at the corners. Darren Jackson with a squibber in front of the plate. Joe Girardi pounces. Pettitte breaks the cover home, but hey, Joe says, I'll do it myself. Runs Maglio Ordonez back to third. Scott Brocious with the tag, and the lead remained 2-1 Yankees. It would stay that way until the top of the 9th. Mariano Rivera gets Ray Durham. The bounce to second. Ball game over. Yankees win it 2-1 as they snap the 5-game losing streak. Don Zimmer, of course, a happy camper.
We went 2-1, and Andy Pettitte got us some jams. That we got some breaks. We got some breaks today to win the game 2-1. No question about it. How we got out of a couple of jams. You know, when you sit back and you got men on first, the other team's got men on first and third, and nobody out. In a close game, actually, what you're hoping for is a double play, give them one run and get out of the inning. And we just kept getting out of the inning without giving up a run. And I call that, you know, just a couple of lucky breaks for a change.
Chili Davis, of course, swinging a hot bat this weekend with not 1 but 2 homers. Of course, the home run on Sunday proved to be the game winner. Chili Davis, of course, happy that he's off to a fine start, leading the Yankees in homers.
I hit it pretty good. It wasn't really a pitch I was looking for, but he just got a changeup up, and today that, I guess, was my bat speed. You know, and I put the good wood on it. I'm sure he wasn't trying to get it up there. He started me off with a changeup the last at bat and got it down, and all I could do was line out to center. But, you know, the guy made one bad pitch and paid for it. I mean, I'm glad it's him and not us.
Chili and the American League Eastern standings, that half game we've mentioned a couple of times. Yankees with the advantage in the loss column. But again, it is only May, but still a treat for May. A big pitching matchup tonight. How often do you see a couple of former Cy Young winners get to go head-to-head? Couple of strikeout kings going. David Cone, of course, working here against the Boston Red Sox, and a tough hitter he'll face tonight, Nomar Garcia-Parra. And the New York Yankees, they haven't seen a lot of Pedro Martinez, but they did see him last year. This is more of Cone taking care of Andy Sheets with the Anaheim Angels in that 1-0 loss. That, of course, to Chuck Finley at the stadium last week. And David Cone in fine shape, as is Pedro Martinez. This is just one of the reasons why he leads the American League in wins and strikeouts, blowing away the Mariners in his last start, making it look easy. And again, off to the fine 7-1 start, leading the league in strikeouts. Should be quite a matchup. Jay Buhner goes down looking. Pedro Martinez handling Ken Griffey Jr. with the good curveball. He's got a variety of pitches, and that changeup is his bread and butter, but he'll be working it tonight. Martinez 7-1, the 1.81 earned run average. David Cone a 4-1 record, but that 1.33 that leads the American League in the earned run average category. Take a look at the lineups tonight. Chuck Knobloch looking to heat up a little bit. He's leading off. Derek Jeter batting in second, and Paul O'Neill in the third spot. Bernie Williams batting cleanup. Tino Martinez showing some signs of life at the plate. Chili Davis in the DH spot, followed by Jorge Jorge Posada, Chad Curtis in left field tonight getting the start, and Scott Brocious getting the start at third base. For the Boston Red Sox, Jose Alferman, their fine leadoff man, followed by Jeff Fry, Reggie Jefferson, the versatile DH, Nomar Garcia-Parra having another all-star year, Troy O'Leary, former Yankee Mike Stanley, Jason Varitek, Darren Lewis, and Trot Nixon rounding out that Boston Red Sox windup. Well, when we come back, we'll have more for you, but right now, time for Leila Spitani with a Metro Guide report for you after this commercial break on Metro Guide. It's one of the most intense rivalries in American sport, played out at one of the grandest and most historic venues in the game. It's a rivalry that features future Hall of Famers, particularly at the shortstop position, where each is in possession of an all-star. And the pitching matchup, well, tonight it's second to none. A couple of former Cy Young champions plan to have the bats doing just that as they go nose-to-nose in this important early season game. But all of these stories are secondary, for this is the night that the manager returns to take over his team and guide them to another championship season. It's New York Yankees baseball on Metro Guide. Live from Fenway Park, New York Yankees taking on the Boston Red Sox in a big three-game series with a big-time pitching matchup in Game 1. David Cone, 4-1 against Pedro Martinez, 7-1. Full house on hand here on a beautiful but cloudy evening here at Fenway Park in Boston, one of the oldest stadiums in all of baseball. As a matter of fact, it's between it and Tiger Stadium, but they are both grand and glorious palaces. Tonight, the big game here at Fenway Park. Pitching matchups, you've got David Cone going against Pedro Martinez, but all this is seemingly secondary. Joe Torre is coming back tonight as manager of the New York Yankees. He had a big news conference earlier before the game in the dugout. We asked Torre when did he make up his mind that he indeed would come back tonight.
Well, that was the big thing about showing up. Even though I know players were questioning, you know, when are you coming back, when are you coming back, I thought it was important that my presence shows them that I'm moving around and I feel good, and you know, I'm active and all that stuff. So, you know, I tried, I thought that was the right medicine. And again, you know, it's a nice situation we have here, because as I say, we're a close group. We have no secrets from each other, and you know, you try to do what you can to help. You know, we don't care who gets credit for, you know, for helping somebody. That's not really a concern of ours.
So the skipper is back, and for more on tonight's game, our play-by-play team of Jim Cott and Ken Singleton.
All right, thanks a lot, Bill. Kenny, I think the reason Joe Torre came back, he didn't want to miss this pitcher's duel. I mean, if both of these pitchers pitch up to their capabilities, we're in for a real treat. David Cone coming off a tough loss in his last start.
It was a tough loss, but he pitched well here last September 8th at Fenway Park, matched up against Pedro Martinez. David Cone, that particular night, it was the night before the Yankees clinched the division. David Cone had 11 strikeouts in a 3-2 victory over these very same Boston Red Sox September 8th of last year. Now, let's go back to his last start. We were talking about against the Anaheim Angels. That was at the stadium. That was on May the 12th, and he lost the ball game 1-0 to Chuck Finley. But David Cone had 8 strikeouts in a tough loss to Chuck Finley and the Angels.
David Cone's record now 4-1. The Yankees are 6-1 when he pitches. Look at that batting average against the best in the majors. Probably the only flaw would be the base on balls total, a little bit high. That is not the case for Pedro Martinez. If you had to pick a man right now and say, who is the best pitcher in baseball, Pedro would be your guy.
Yeah, I think I'd want him on the mound, too. Pedro has been outstanding this year. He has had 6 consecutive starts with 10 or more strikeouts. This is May the 12th. You see Brian Hunter with no clue on that swing. This is against the Mariners, a 9-2 victory. Pedro struck out 15. He had all of his weapons working. Great changeup, great fastball. Check out this breaking ball with Jay Buhner. That's a good one. But watch Ken Griffey go down on this hook. No chance whatsoever. Pedro's been outstanding all season long.
As if he needed it to go with that fastball and the change. He's added a better breaking ball, and it all adds up to a 7-1 record. check the walk-strikeout ratio. He has only walked 11 men and struck out 91. Promises to be an emotional night. Joe Torre is back. A premier pitcher's duel. We'll have it all for you from Fenway Park when we come back after these words.
You know, we took a fresh...
Welcome back to Fenway Park. As our colleague Al Troutwig always says about Yankee Stadium, the most famous place in sports, this is certainly the coziest old Fenway Park, and we're happy to have you with us as Chuck Knobloch takes strike one. What else from Pedro Martinez? He will work quickly. There is no doubt in his mind what he wants to throw. Very little indecision. Just misses the outside corner, and it's 1-1. He has added, Kenny, as if he needed it, a little better curveball to go along with the great fastball and outstanding changeup. Popped up right side. Ex-Yankee Mike Stanley is there, and he puts it away, 1 down. Let's check out the rest of the Yankee lineup, brought to you by Genuine Chevrolet. After Chuck Knobloch comes Derek Jeter and Paul O'Neill, and Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Chili Davis. Now, Joe Torre managing. Jorge Posada is in the 7th spot tonight. Then Chad Curtis and Scott Brocious. Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust.
In the field for the Boston Red Sox tonight, Fry, Garcia-Parra, Offerman, and Stanley in the infield. O'Leary, Lewis, and Nixon in the outfield. Jason Varitek doing the catching for Pedro Martinez. Jeff Fry at third base missed all of last season with a knee injury.
And Derek Jeter says, we've heard all about you, Pedro, but I'm having my career year, and I'm on my way to becoming the best player in the American League. And he quickly extends his record of reaching safely in every game this year.
37 in a row now as his solid line drive. First pitch that he sees from Pedro Martinez might show you the quickness of Derek Jeter's bat this year, and he's on with 1 down.
And as Paul O'Neill steps in, I asked Paul before the game, I said, give me a little thumbnail on your approach to Pedro Martinez. And he says, as you would expect from being a hitter, you have to look fastball early in the count and be ready for it, as Jeter was, because once he gets ahead, he's got that great changeup, and now he's added the breaking ball. Paul coming off a poor homestand. Let's see. No, he didn't call time quickly enough. Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire. Your job is to protect the hitter, but O'Neill wanted time too late. Hickox wouldn't allow it at strike 1.
Here's a look at the target. It's outside. Maybe Paul stepping out threw Pedro off a little. That was over the inside corner for a strike. Yeah, had a lot of movement on it, too.
And Hickox made the right call because Martinez had already lifted his leg. He was already into his pitching motion.
Pedro with a very quick move to first base. In fact, he throws so hard to first base. David Segui and Pedro were teammates in Montreal. Pedro broke David Segui's thumb at first base.
Got to use a sponge as a first baseman as well as a catcher. There's the outstanding changeup following up the fastball. Some pitchers have a changeup that's just a change of speeds that you make contact with, not this one.
Not only a change of speeds, but change of direction. This pitch falls off away from Paul O'Neill. When you throw in the mid-90s and you have a changeup in the 60s, that's 30-mile-per-hour difference. And when you can make them both look the same coming out of your hand, very difficult for a hitter to catch up to either one.
Just outside. Interesting, prior to the game, Joe Torre got a very warm ovation from the fans here, particularly behind the Yankee dugout when he brought the lineup card out. And then to counter that, as Pedro Martinez walked in, he got a rousing ovation from the Fenway faithful down the right field line. You can see Jeter is barely getting his lead is nowhere near the cutout at first base. Great respect for Pedro Martinez's ability to get the ball to first base quickly.
A lot of pressure on the first baseman, though. If the throw is off just a little bit, he's going to have the quick hand. Speaking of Mike Stanley.
Got him. The change up again. You can know it's coming as a hitter. Doesn't make any difference. That is a strikeout type changeup. The first for Martinez, second out in the Yankee frame. Here's Joe Torre bringing out the lineup card.
The center fielder,
And responding to the applause. Quite an emotional day here at the stadium. And the guy who's in the most relaxed frame of mind is Don Zimmer. Zim is back to being a bench coach and enjoying, as he always does, his time here at Fenway Park. It's Bernie Williams stepping in. Bernie, one of the few hitters, the other might be Chad Curtis, who has had reasonable success against Martinez. There you saw his season numbers. Couldn't check in time. Strike one. Bernie 4 for 13 against Martinez lifetime.
Yeah, Pedro has added a cutter to throw to the left-handed hitter, so that's something else that a lefty hitter has to look for.
Add up the hits and walks. That's just incredible. Less than a base runner per inning. 8 base runners per 9 innings for a starting pitcher. There's that's in for strike 0-2. I think Brett Saberhagen in one of his Cy Young years had that. To do that over a course of a season is unheard of. As Joe Kerrigan, the Red Sox pitching coach on the right, and manager Jimmy Williams look on.
Look out.
Now that appeared to be bigger than the cutter. That would be his breaking ball. So the cutter is really a 4th pitch.
Nice job of coming up with this pitch by Jason Varitek. Saved the wild pitch.
Almost got Bernie Williams in the toe. When a pitcher, right-hander, throws a cutter to a left-hander, it should break in more about belt buckle high. Bernie Williams lays off a very tough pitch.
Well, Bernie has the ability to take pitches, close pitches, and I think he's earned a reputation around the league and from the umpires that he's not one to go out of the strike zone. If he does, it's more apt to be on a high pitch rather than a low one.
Jeter on the run. Out of the reach of Garcia Parra. Lewis playing perfectly in center field will field it. And the Yankees, with 2 hits off Pedro Martinez here in the first inning, have runners at the corners with 2 down. Good at bat by Bernie Williams.
Didn't chase the pitches that were down. Now this is a changeup, and somehow he stayed with it, kept his hands back, lined it by Garcia Parra, who had moved over to cover second with Jeter running. You'll see Jeter take off. Garcia Parra is moving towards the bag, and the ball will elude him and go to the outfield. Jeter's on his way to third, and look at him hustle. He's running, rounding the bag. If something goes wrong in the outfield, or if there's a misplay on the relay, he might have been able to score. Good hustle on the bases.
So what might be the Yankees' best opportunity to score against Martinez here in the first inning. Off the inside corner, ball 1. Jimmy Williams' team, as he sends the signals in to catcher Jason Varitek, they've won 9 of their last 11. And Joe Torre happy to be back in the Yankee dugout. 2-0. As he told our Bill Daughtry on our scorecard show, it's one thing to watch it on TV, but he said you lose sight of the player after they come back to the bench. Now he gets the body language, the dugout talk, the feedback from guys that he uses as some input.
Yes, it can be very informative as to what's going on the field.
Right center field and hit well, but Trot Nixon is there near the Red Sox bullpen to put it away. So the Yankees have some pretty good swings at Pedro Martinez in the first inning, but they strand a pair. David Cone to take the mound at Fenway when we come back after these messages. David Cone completes his warm-up tosses here as he tries to match Pedro Martinez in what promises to be a terrific pitcher's duel. Here's the Boston lineup right at the top. What a terrific year he's having. Jose Offerman, then Jeff Fry filling in for the injured John Valentin. Reggie Jefferson hits third, then Nomar Garciaparra, Troy O'Leary, Mike Stanley the bottom third, Jason Varitek, Darren Lewis, and Trot Nixon. Brought to you by Genuine Chevrolet.
Now in the field for the Yankees, Brocious, Jeter, Knobloch, and Martinez. Curtis, Williams, and O'Neill in the outfield. Jorge Posada doing the catching for David Cone tonight. Chad Curtis will get the start tonight in left field. Lately, it has been Shane Spencer. But tonight, Joe Torre, his first game back, will put the veteran Curtis out in left field. And maybe because he, 3 for 7 lifetime against Pedro Martinez.
It almost looks, Joe Torre had said, Kenny, we see David Cohn's numbers in those 7 starts. The Yankees are 6-1. And the only difference between Cohn and Martinez is the base on balls total. And in David's brilliant performance in his last start, the only run the Angels got was a result of a leadoff walk. We talked at one of our earlier telecasts about those lines. See the lines right in there, that the pitchers actually, that territory between those lines and the plate is really what the pitcher sights in. If you throw the ball between there and the inside line, that's your turf. But I think Jorge wants those lines out of there. For what reasons?
Well, balls in the dirt might hit one of those lines and it puffs up. You get the lime that might come up in your eyes, and certainly don't want that. So Jorge did a pretty good job of obliterating whatever lime there was up there.
Here's Jose Offerman. Ball 1. He leads the league in doubles and triples. He's hitting .345. He's got a great on base percentage. Not a power hitter. (2-0). He is on pace, and he's only done this once in his career, to walk more often than he strikes out, which is what you'd like to see in a leadoff hitter.
And particularly in Fenway Park, where you can get something going in a hurry.
David Cohn's body language, even between pitches, you'll see him stretching a little, almost like he's having a little difficulty getting loose tonight.
Power slider has been great. Match game.
Wow.
And the reason why I put match game in there is because the second game in a row he's matched up against a real tough pitcher. Last time out, May the 12th, it was Chuck Finley. As Joe Torre looks on and Tony walks the first man he faces.
That, as we pointed out, is the only difference in these two pitchers. And what David Cohn, if you watch him over the years, his approach is, I do not want to give up the first run. And he pitches very, very cautiously in the early part of the ball game. You'll see a lot of deep counts. He'll almost pitch the first or second inning as if it's the 9th inning, especially when you're going against Martinez. Here's Jeff Fry. On the run, his Offerman throw is there, and he got him. Wow, big break. I don't know if that was a misread on the hit and run sign. Offerman with a quick glance in at the plate, but in a game with these two pitchers, that's a huge out.
Jorge Posada makes a very strong throw. Now Offerman leads the Red Sox in stolen bases. Good pitch to throw on, out over the plate, and there it is right there, and Jeter gets the tag down quickly. Offerman leads the Red Sox in stolen bases with 7, but he's been caught 5 times now, so that's not a good ratio.
Breaking ball misses. Let's check out, see if he looks in, Kenny, see if it's a hit and run or a steal.
It looks like it's a straight steal. He does not look in to see what Fry will do with the bat.
Exactly. Just a good throw by Posada. Got him. That's in for a strike. 1-2. You mentioned Jeff Fry missed all of last year with a knee injury. And you see the average. If it were not for John Valentin's sore knee tonight, he wouldn't be in the lineup. Two and two.
Yeah, there's John Valentin. I talked to John in the Red Sox clubhouse before the game. He said it's tendonitis. He can pinch hit if he has to, but right now they're going to give him a few days off and rest it. He doesn't want to go on the disabled list.
Don't blame him. He pinch hit last night in the Cohn looked in with that, and he's making a motion to Ed Hickox. Was that pitch high? He thought he had strike 3, and the count's now full to Fry. Valentin pinch hit last night's game. The Red Sox came up with 5 in the 9th to win it. Fry stays alive. Off ex-Yankee Graham Lloyd.
Jeff Fry can play third, mostly second. I've seen him in the outfield from time to time. 5'9", 170 pounds.
He would be to the Red Sox what Luis Sojo is to the Yankees.
Yeah, but Sojo's bigger. That's a small Fry.
Small Fry. Putting a tough at bat on David Cohn, and again you see one of the other subtle differences in these two pitchers. Pedro Martinez, even though he gave up 2 hits in the first inning, threw primarily strikes. David Cone, with 1 out, has already thrown a lot of pitches. And again, Fry reaches and pokes that out of play.
Yeah, I think Fry helped him out by swinging at that pitch and fouling it off. They look like ball 4.
Red Sox without Mo Vaughn doing a good job of hanging in the American League East, just a half game behind the Yankees. Popped up right field, O'Neill, and he'll put it away. Second out of the inning. Mentioned Ed Hickox behind the plate. We just had this crew in Yankee Stadium. Our umpire lineup brought to you by NAM, National Arbitration and Mediation, the most timely, cost-effective way to settle your legal disputes. There is the chief of all chiefs, Larry Barnett, at first base, and then Greg Kosk and Dan Morrison.
Ed Hickox, a lot of pressure on a second-year umpire tonight. Going to see some great pitching.
Here's Reggie Jefferson, curveball in for a strike. And I know the umpires are, with their union, are very strong in their statement that all of our umpires are equal and they're all the same, but you almost wonder in a matchup like this why they wouldn't put one of the more experienced umpires behind the plate. Quickly 0-2, and maybe their answer would be, hey, this guy's got to get his experience sooner or later. We stay in the same rotation. Jefferson has 3 home runs against David Cone in his career. Got him with the backdoor breaking ball, or a splitter. Looks like it might have gone down and away, or the backdoor hook. Good sharp breaking ball. And after the leadoff walk, Cone settles down. We've played 1 in this anticipated pitcher's duel. No score. New York Yankee Baseball brought to you in part by Cadillac Seville STS, with all the power and technology of the North Star system. It's what's next. And by MCS Cannon, keeping people in business, We head to the second as Chili Davis steps in, batting 6th in the Yankee lineup. Outside for ball. Actually, both pitchers in the first inning threw 16 pitches. David Cone, the last 7 pitches he threw were all strikes, so he made a nice comeback to get on track.
Now, Chili Davis, the hitting hero on Sunday afternoon in front of a big crowd at Yankee Stadium. That 2-run home run that he hit off Mike Sorotka.
Ripped cyst down in the corner. Nixon will have to play it out of the corner. Chili Davis into second with a double, and in the early part of the game, Jeter, Williams, Tino Martinez, now Chili Davis have all had good swings against Martinez.
It's hard to tell with that pitch in slow motion, but it goes to the corner. You know, we were talking about the years ago when the Red Sox had Jim Rice and Fred Lynn and Dwight Evans out there in the outfield. This is not the same type of outfield. You're going to look at the contact. That pitch is inside. Chili quick, brings that elbow in. Lefties like that ball down and in, don't they?
Anybody down and in, right, lefty to righty or righty to lefty. That is the prime spot. Here's Posada. There's the changeup for strike 1, and here's one of the influences, I think, already of Joe Torre being back in the dugout. I mentioned earlier he never interfered at all with Don Zimmer's managing of the ball club or Zim's lineups, but you see Posada up in the 7th spot. Shows bunt, and Chili Davis will get back in time. Last few games, Posada has been hitting 9th and Brocious 8th. So the bottom third is shifted around a little bit in this game.
Well, Jason Varitek getting Chili Davis's uniform dirty out there at second base. Sometimes DHs can go a whole game without getting dirty.
And they don't like that. They like to run the pillows and be in the middle of it. Low. Posada with one thing in mind right here. Sure, he'd like to get a base hit. He's only hitting a .61, .64 left-handed. And see what he's done lately, but at least hit a ground ball to the right side and advance Davis. Late on the fastball.
I think that's easier said than done with Pedro Martinez pitching. He can throw that changeup. He can jam you with a fastball like he did there. So when you're hitting against Pedro, you almost always have to look for the fastball, but you have to adjust to the other pitches. But the adjustments are so major that that's what makes him difficult to hit. Here's Jimmy Williams. We have quite a difference in the managers. Jimmy Williams spent 14 games in the major leagues as opposed to a long and outstanding career for Joe Torre.
Just a bit high, and the count's full. Curtis waits on deck. Chad has not had a lot of playing time lately. Shane Spencer has been in there most of the time since being recalled from Columbus. Well, he's shaken off at least 3 or 4 signs from Veritek. Ooh, good swing again by Posada. Shane waiting and watching from the Yankee dugout tonight.
Spencer has never hit against Pedro Martinez.
He doesn't know what he's missing. But the rest of those Yankee and American League hitters can tell him about it. Up the middle. Fielded by Garcia-Parra. The throw to Stanley in time, but a nice at-bat by Posada with a 2-strike count. Puts it in play, got it through the legs of Martinez, and advances the runner. Productive out.
Good job of advancing the runner, but you know he would have liked to have a hit. Anytime you hit a ball that bounces right over the bag at second, you figure you might have a hit. Not with Nomar Garcia-Parra. First of all, shaded to his left, behind the bag on the second base side of second, and throws out Posada by a step. Good play by the Boston Red Sox shortstop.
And just to show you what both managers think about the pitchers in this game, as Curtis steps in already in the second inning, the infield in. Low for a ball. If it were any other pitcher, or most any other pitcher but David Cone, I think Jimmy Williams would say, we'll play back, we'll take the out, we'll give you a run early. And Curtis has done well against Martinez, but in this game, and with respect for Cone's ability to shut down your lineup, you don't want to give up that first run. In on the hands, fouled out of play, 1-1.
Pedro has a lot of movement on his fastball. Usually runs in on the hands of the right-handed hitters. Earlier in his career, that pitch got him in a lot of trouble because he would sail in and hit those right-handed hitters. He was not as capable of pitching inside to righties as he is now. His control is much, much better, and he maintains the fact that he can still throw the ball 90, 95 miles an hour up towards the plate with his fastball.
Low. 2-1. And Willie Randolph whispering some words to Chili Davis as Brocious waits on deck. You know, with Chili's speed in the infield end, they really can't put the contact play on. They have to make the ball go through unless it's a really high chopper. 15 years ago, it would have been a different story for Chili. Off-speed pitch, 2-2.
Yeah, the hitter's going to have to drive Chili Davis in. He's not going to be able to score in one of those slow choppers. 0 for 23 with runners on base. That's not even with runners in scoring position. That's runners on base.
Chad, a much more anxious hitter with men on base.
Have to go back to Spike Owen, who was 0 for 33 with runners on base in 1993.
Got him. Curtis down again to prolong the streak, and there's the ability of Pedro Martinez to come up with a big strikeout in a clutch situation, and that's two-way in the Yankees' second.
Yeah, I think the same thing applies to David Cone. We see a ball, a pitch fouled off, 1-1. Little low ball, 2-1. Good changeup, 2-2. Runs the fastball right on by him and strikes him out. David Cone and Pedro have the ability to make the big strike, get a big strikeout in a tough situation.
You can almost see with that follow through by Pedro that a little extra drive toward Veritek on that one. Here's Brocious in his familiar number 9 spot.
Look at him.
Never lose those reactions.
Oh, man.
Those pitches up and in. Well, that's what you were talking about, that earlier in Pedro's career, he had a lot of guys running out to the mound on that pitch because he couldn't control it. Ended up hitting a lot of guys.
Gee, I bailed out too.
And on the hands near the Yankee dugout. Fry giving chase, as is Garcia-Parra. That'll find the first row. Knobloch waits on deck, gives us a chance to check out our Marriott Marquee pitching matchup with these two right-handers tonight. David Cone has never lost at Fenway Park. He's 5-0. Both earned run averages almost identical. And Pedro Martinez, in his brief stay here in Boston, is 12-4 at friendly Fenway. Two and one. Both pitchers early on, I think, kind of testing out. Yeah, there's another guy that didn't lose often here, did he?
Well, the fact is that only 5 pitchers have won their first 5 decisions here at Fenway. Mel Stottlemyre is one of them. Jim Palmer, Ed Figueroa, Brett Saberhagen, Mel Stottlemyre, and David Cone.
This is again, I think both pitchers testing early here. The strike zone of Ed Hickox. You see a lot of pitches at or near the corner that are very close. And so far they've all been balls. Not that Hickox is missing them, but that's what pitchers try to do. Just find out how big that zone is going to be.
Yeah, but these guys are good enough. Once they realize the limits, they can get within city limits and then go right outside the city limits.
Here's the best hitting count Scott Brocious could hope for. 3-1 against Martinez with 2 away. He doesn't get the fastball. He gets the changeup, and the count's full. We're told that pitch 82 miles an hour.
All right, so you take off about 13 miles per hour from his fastball, and you can see how far out in front Brocious is expecting to heat.
Fans would like to see Pedro's 3rd strikeout. Joe Torre, not one of those pulling for a strikeout here. Got him. Came back with a breaking ball, and Brocious knew it. Called strike 3. He's got 3 strikeouts through 2 innings. David Cone heads back to the mound. Still no score at
Fenway. Hey, Yankee fans, name your own price and save on airline tickets, hotel rooms, home mortgages, and more at Priceline.com. Get away for less this summer by naming your own price. Visit us on the internet at Priceline.com or call 1-800-PRICELINE.
You know, we took a fresh look at truck guys and found out, hey, truck guys have actual friends and they have families. They're not the lonesome cowboys that we used to think they were. Truckers have friends. We need doors for the friends. The idea of putting 4 real doors on a compact pickup is really a no-brainer. Our brains just got there first.
Stock market was mixed today with pharmaceutical companies.
Pindex up 18.
Technology stock.
Something's going on.
Some on Wall
You guys investors? Can you get us some peanuts or something? You ever use that Discover brokerage online? Nuts.
In other news, bartender Jack McGee purchased the Pinzac company in a deal worth $43 billion. McGee says he has no plans to do bartending, but will continue
No charge for the nuts.
financial empire, which includes...
Sorry. Lot's full.
Well, what about those spaces?
They're reserved for cars with advanced integrated driving systems.
What?
See that Seville? It's got the North Star system. So much control, it can almost read your thoughts. Can you read my thoughts?
You're telling me I can't park here?
You're a very perceptive man.
Seville with the North Star system. Now just $549 a month. Seville, it's what's next.
There are meters out front.
Back at Fenway, we head to the bottom of the 2nd, no score. And we remind you that baseball's greatest rivalry will continue next week back at the stadium as the Boston Red Sox battle in the Bronx. That's a 3-game series. It starts May 24th, 2 night games, and then a day game. Right now, Roger Clemens would be scheduled to pitch that day game on the 26th. Tickets available by calling the stadium box office or Ticketmaster or on the web at www.yankees.com. Roger Clemens slated right now to pitch Friday night in Chicago. And that would set him up for next Wednesday. Nomar Garciaparra, after missing the first part of the season with a hamstring injury, is starting to produce again for the Red Sox. Breaking ball swung on and missed.
Well, there are those who thought that Garciaparra would not have as good a year without Mo Vaughn in the Boston lineup. But as you can see, 336 with 5 home runs and 29 runs batted in, taking over the cleanup spot. He's doing all right.
I think he's the kind of hitter that will go outside the strike zone a little. That's in for a strike. And not worry about what kind of protection he has behind him. Troy O'Leary hitting behind him. See what he's done the last 11 games. 2 of those home runs grand slams. And Troy O'Leary hitting behind him has 8 home runs. That's outside, 1 and 2. They matched up last September. David Cone, Pedro Martinez, and the Yankees won that one 3-2. Just off the corner, 2 and 2. It was the last time 2 former Cy Young winners matched up as O'Leary waits on deck. In fact, it's only happened one other time in the history of these 2 franchises. Now the count's gone full. We have to go back to 1976 when Catfish Hunter and Fergie Jenkins, 2 former Cy Young Award winners, hooked up in a Yankee Red Sox game. Right field, O'Neill is there. 1 away.
Doesn't appear that they want to give Nomar a fastball to swing at. Started him with a curve and ended it with a curve.
Number 25. There's the battles between former Cy Young Award winners. We were talking about that. The Yankees in both of those games, 8-3 they won in 76. We mentioned last year that win put David Cone at 19-5 and Pedro Martinez at 18-5. Here's O'Leary, and I think you said the night after that is when the Yankees clinched the division.
Yeah, their record went to 102-41 on September the 9th. They beat the Red Sox 7-5 and won the division.
Out in front of the breaking ball, and O'Leary lofts a high fly to center. Bernie Williams is there, 2 down.
Batting 6, number 24, the first baseman.
Well, as you can imagine, both of these guys follow the careers of one another, and this is what Pedro Martinez had to say about David Cone on our American Express quote book.
Yeah, nothing to put on the bulletin board there, huh?
No.
You don't want to get the other side riled up.
Here's Mike Stanley in the lineup tonight, even though the Red Sox, and we'll probably see him in this series, have a rookie minor league veteran, first baseman Brian Daubach, who was a hero in last night's game. He's a left-hand hitter. That's a good breaking ball, and it's 1-1 to Stanley. But Jimmy Williams going with the veteran Mike Stanley tonight. Maybe he needs a catcher over at first base to catch the hard pickoff throws from Martinez.
David Cone with the outstanding breaking ball. Mel Stoudemire said he's really getting on top of the hook. Oh, except when he drops down and throws it sidearm like the last one.
Yeah, he turns 3 pitches into 6 or 7 because he can come up over the top, 3/4, sidearm. 1-2.
Got a nice little rhythm going this inning as opposed to last inning.
Did he go? That looked like the splitter, and they checked with Larry Barnett, the crew chief. No swing, and the count's level at 2. Looking for his first hit against David Cone. Inside, another full count. Waiting on deck, catcher Jason Varitek. Hit well, left field. Curtis on the run is going to make a nice sliding backhand grab. Nice play by Chad Curtis on the vicious sinking liner. by Mike Stanley. One more look at it as we go to break. And we've played 2 here at Fenway. As advertised, still no score. Back after this.
Foot Locker Grand Opening Celebration, 34th Street between 6th and 7th Avenues. Come meet Keith Van Horn May 22nd, Ricky Williams and a New York Liberty May 23rd, and Bernie Williams May 24th.
Hold your head even higher and into the fire we go.
Lies. Torture. Betrayal. Just your typical New York romance. The Scarlet Pimpernel, Broadway's most intriguing musical. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 212-307-4100.
This is a message for Karen Quinn, card member since '82.
Sören hade fel. Jag har havet.
Because you've been to see virtually every film ever made, and because you used your card to buy 10 tickets for MoviePhone, your next cinematic experience is on us.
Jag är helt överlycklig.
Yet another reason to do more with the American Express card.
The world champion New York Yankees are winners of an incredible 24 World Series titles. And just like last year, just like the last 10 years, only one network delivers the complete coverage Yankee fans have come to expect. From pregame to postgame, you love your pinstripe heroes, and so do we. And no one brings you Yankee baseball like MSG. The Yanks battle the Red Sox again after New York Marriott Marquis Scorecard. Tomorrow on MSG.
Back at Fenway, no score. Kenny, 3 hits for the Yankees. Sometimes if you don't take advantage of those opportunities early against a guy like Martinez, you never get any more.
Yeah, they have left 3 men on in the first 2 innings, including a first and third in the first inning. Chuck Knobloch's going to lead it off. After popping out to Mike Stanley at first base, Knobloch is now 1 for his last 35. And the first pitch is dropped in there for a strike. And we are all wondering when Chuck is going to get his groove back.
Kind of tough to expect him to get it back against Martinez. That's what he did in the homestand.
Fastball towards the middle. Garciaparra near the bag at second will throw out Chuck Knobloch, and the bleeding continues for Knobloch. Now 1 for 36 after grounding out to Garciaparra. 1 down.
Going back to your comment about Knobloch, Chuck's strength when he came up, Rookie of the Year 1991, was whenever he got a little off track, he had the ability to hit the ball to right field. We have not seen, even that pitch there was inside, it jammed him. We haven't seen him really take the ball the other way, and that's usually the way guys try to get out of slumps.
Derek Jeter singled on the first pitch he saw, his average up to 366. And with that base hit, extended a current hitting streak to 13 games in a row. 93 miles an hour on that last fastball from Pedro Martinez. There's another one inside. 2 balls and no strikes on Jeter. One thing Pedro Martinez has improved on this year, he gave up a home run in his first start of the year on April the 7th. He gave up a home run in his last start. He's only given up 2 this season. Bouncing ball wide to third into left field for a base hit. Jeter is now 2 for 2. And had struggled against Pedro Martinez previously, having gone only 2 for 13.
1 to right, now 1 to left, and as Derek ran down the first baseline, Martinez turned around and glanced at him as if, you're ready for that inside pitch. He's one guy, would not be surprising to see Martinez move off the plate and try to make him hit a breaking ball in his next at bat.
Paul O'Neill will come to the plate. Struck out on a changeup. O'Neill's been a very good hitter against Boston pitching during his career. 342 lifetime against the Red Sox. Here's a toss over the first base.
Might see Joe Torre. You don't often do it with the heart of your batting order, but you might see Joe Torre, his first game back as manager, with a little counsel from Don Zimmer. Start the runner, try to make a few things happen. You don't get a lot of opportunities against Martinez.
That is outside, ball 1. I mentioned that Pedro had cut down on home runs. He gave up 26 home runs last year, only 2 so far this year. And he has a lot in common with David Cone in that respect, because David Cone's only given up 1 home run this year. So you would think in a game where it's tough to get hits and put things together, a home run might help you. That might not be the case tonight. O'Neill back through the middle, base hit. Jeter's the second and will hold on as Darren Lewis comes up with the ball and gets it back in. So with 1 out, the Yankees have backed up singles and have 2 on.
And again, another left-hand hitter with a good swing. That pitch up and away, and O'Neill got on top of it just out of the reach of Martinez. They've hit a couple right back at him.
Yankees now with 5 hits in the early going in this game. And Bernie Williams has 1 of them. Bernie was particularly tough on Boston pitching last year on his way to winning the batting title. Maybe because he knew he had to battle Mo Vaughn down to the wire. 391 against Boston. And he's 1 for 1 this year. Takes a fastball on the inner half for a called strike.
See, once if they go at him differently, that's what makes both these pitchers as good as they are. They will mix their pattern up. Bernie took a couple of close breaking balls, end up hitting a changeup in his first at bat. That was a fastball on the inside corner.
The Yankees are coming off a homestand in which they only hit .239 as a team in 9 games. Fouled back.
Note on that pitch, he shook off Varitek twice and went back to the same pitch. It's like he hit his changeup the first time. I'm going to keep him honest with the inside fastballs.
The Yankees were also shut out twice on this most recent homestand, and maybe a change of scenery. Maybe the hitter-friendly Fenway Park would get the Yankee bats going. They had 5 hits off of Pedro in 2 1/3 innings. And now we're going to have a discussion between Varitek and Martinez. Signs get a little more complicated with the runner at second.
Now, pitchers would prefer, particularly in an inning like this, you got 2 quick strikes on the premier hitter, to be able to just get the sign and throw it. But if there's any doubt in Varitek's mind, certainly that's the thing to do. He threw a couple of signs down there. Martinez didn't acknowledge him. He'd go out and say, what do you want to do on 0-2?
Now, how close did Bernie Williams come to becoming a member of the Boston Red Sox over the winter?
Very close.
Swung on and missed. And Pedro Martinez gets it on a high fastball. Strikeout number 4 for Pedro, and the second out this inning.
Pedro said, you got a base hit on my changeup. You didn't look good on the fastball. I'm coming back with 1 more. And look at the move, not only 95, but the movement, moving up and away.
2 on and 2 out. It almost looked like the same pitch that Paul O'Neill hit back through the middle. Tino Martinez. Flat out to right field, 0 for 1. Line drive, base hit, and towards the corner. Derek Jeter's going to score the game's first run. O'Neill digging hard, will be held up at third. And Tino Martinez drives in the first run with a double. The Yankees' 6th hit of the ball game and their first run.
Had a solid swing at him in the first at bat and flied out to right center. This is an off-speed pitch, just a little bit more of the plate than Martinez wanted. You see Jeter immediately can read that's down in the corner. He'll score the first run. And there you see contact right in the sweet spot.
Hitters like that pitch about thigh high. They can lift up on it a little bit. That is ball 1 to Chili Davis. That is 9th double of the season. Check that. That's a strike. Chili doubled leading off the 2nd inning. Got as far as third base, but was stalled there in the 2nd. Good breaking ball. Swung on and missed. Strike 2. Yankees with 3 hits this inning. Single by Jeter, single by O'Neill, and a double by Martinez. Davis in the hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Chili Davis, one of the Yankees that continued to hit on this past homestand. High fastball is fouled off. You saw the sign of Veritek. That was not supposed to be a strike.
Kenny, thinking back to Tino Martinez at bat, you might identify with this as a hitter. It's almost like Tino said he threw Bernie Williams 3 straight fastballs. He's not going to throw 4 fastballs in a row. I'm going up there looking for a changeup. He was right on it.
That's why it pays to pay attention in that on-deck circle. 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball, bounce to the right side for Offerman. He'll throw out Chili Davis, but not before the Yankees come up with a run against Pedro Martinez. So he played 2.5 here at Fenway Park in Boston. David Cohn and the Yankees lead by 1.
A professional doesn't depend upon the easy way out. He depends upon his equipment. That's why professionals have been driving GMC for nearly a century. Like this GMC Jimmy with a full-length steel frame. So it has the backbone to give you comfort and support, even when the pavement doesn't. Right now, buy a 99 Jimmy and get 1.9% APR financing. The Jimmy looks pretty good, too. But then a true professional always knows how to dress well. Jimmy by GMC. Backbone standard.
Everything we know about cameras is now available in a smaller, easier to handle size. Vectus from Minolta.
You know, we took a fresh look at truck guys and found out, hey, truck guys have actual friends and they have families. They're not the lonesome cowboys that we used to think they were. Truckers have friends. We need doors for the friends. The idea of putting 4 real doors on a compact pickup is really a no-brainer. I mean, our brains just got there first.
Well, there's the view from the bleachers at Fenway Park, and a reminder that New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by GMC Jimmy. Do one thing, do it well, and by American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined. Cozy Fenway Park in Boston. David Cohn matched against Pedro Martinez. So far, David Cohn has yet to allow a hit. He'll face Jason Veritek, Darren Lewis, and Trot Nixon here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Jason Veritek had been sharing time with Scott Hatteberg, but Hatteberg's had a sore elbow, and the Red Sox have called up Mandy Romero to be the backup catcher. Off-speed pitch in there for a called strike.
Jason Veritek, Kenny, would never say that he would do it differently, but looking back, you wonder where his career might be today if he had signed early.
Slow roller down the 3rd base side. Brocious cannot handle it, and Veritek will have an infield single. First hit for the Boston Red Sox. And you're talking about his when he decided to stay in school.
Yeah, they're going to check the baseball now to see if this didn't hit him in the foot, but it didn't. It hit off the end of the bat. Only play Brocious had was to try to barehand it. He was #1 draft pick. See him legging it out down the line of Minnesota. He opted not to sign, didn't get enough money, went a whole year without playing. He was actually drafted a year ahead of Garcia Parra. And had he signed and played 3-4 years with Minnesota, financially, he would be much better off today than he is here.
Both players out of the good program at Georgia Tech. Here's Darren Lewis, and it's outside for a ball. Lewis, known primarily for his glove, was a Gold Glove winner in the National League back in 1994 with the Giants. Last 11 games, though, he's come alive with the bat. Veritek a conservative lead over at first. There's a call strike, 1-1 on Lewis. David Cone, 7-2 lifetime against the Boston Red Sox. And we mentioned one of 5 pitchers to win their first 5 decisions versus the Red Sox here at Fenway. And over the years, you know, they like to bring those right-handers in here, toss over the first.
Though I think it's a great park for left-handers. That's a bit of a myth, because the Red Sox have had a lot of batting champions as left-hand hitters, and there's a lot of left-hand pitchers. The left-handers, they keep that shoulder in and pepper it off the wall. The left-hand pitchers keep the ball down and away. It's a long way to right field here.
Outside for ball 2. When you think of the left-handers they've had over the years, like Bill Lee and John Tudor and
Al Parnell.
Yeah, you go back even further.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of batting champions, a couple of them right up there. Yastrzemski, Ted Williams, and you add Boggs and Billy Goodman, Pete Runnels, Freddie Lynn, all those guys to that list. A lot of big-time left-hand hitters here.
Ball 3. David Cone misses high and outside to Darren Lewis.
It's typical what we've seen all year, that borderline pitch, if it is borderline, near the outside corner. Umpires are getting very, very, I guess I'd say, accurate. They're not getting too generous with that pitch.
Ground ball to the right side, might be 2. Knobloch to Jeter for 1, and no relay. Lewis has good speed, and I don't think they would have got it. But they do get the lead runner.
Could have been 2, but Derek Jeter actually made a really good play here. Watch Knobloch's throw. The Jeter has to reach way to the center field side. Now, a shortstop is coming across that bag with some momentum. He'd like to catch it chest high, but instead you see Jeter had to alter his course just to make the catch, and then he had no chance for 2.
Now, you like to have that momentum leading you towards the first base bag. That one took him out towards right field. Lewis with good speed. There was a throw over the first base. And here is Trot Nixon, heralded former #1 draft pick for the Red Sox. Lewis is not going, and the pitch is lifted towards center field. Bernie Williams on the run. Can't get it. It's going to be Curtis to come up with it in the gap and get it back in. So Trot Nixon for the base hit. And the Red Sox have runners at first and second with 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd.
Nixon finally getting a chance to play on a regular basis and showing the promise that the Red Sox thought they had when they drafted him back in 1993. There's Lewis. He'll read the ball to the outfield. Can he catch it? No. No chance to go to 3rd.
2 on with 1 out, and now the top of the order, and Jose Offerman, who drew a walk but then was caught stealing by Jorge Posada. Knocked down by Posada. That's ball 1. Offerman leads the American League in 2 base hits with 18. Last year with Kansas City before signing on with the Red Sox as a free agent, and a lot of people felt his contract was out of line. And the reason why I said it's not that you're against him making money, but his contract elevated contracts of other players throughout Major League Baseball who are about the same category as Offerman. Good offensive player, maybe not too skilled on defense, but he's come on and done the job for Boston offensively. But a lot of people felt that General Manager Dan Duquette overpaid at $26 million for Jose Offerman. Swing and a miss on an off-speed pitch, 1-1.
Yeah, it's a lot of money for and I don't say this with any disrespect, a one-dimensional. He's an offensive player, not a Gold Glove second baseman. There's an outstanding changeup or splitter by Cone.
A ball and a strike on Offerman. But when you look at how much Mo Vaughn got from the Angels, they saved themselves a piece of change. Splitter to the corner for a call strike.
But I think right now they'd rather have Mo Vaughn hitting in this spot than Offerman is a table setter. Mo Vaughn is a run producer. There again is back-to-back splitters or off-speed pitches by David Cone. That one right on the corner.
There is General Manager Dan Duquette, who does have a portion of the Red Sox pregame show that he does every day. Tried the backdoor breaking ball, and it's just outside. 2-2.
You see the reaction of David Cone. Any borderline pitch. Now, Posada sets up just a bit outside, and Ed Hickok says, no, that ball broke around the plate.
David Cone dropping to his knees. Runners at first and second with one out. Spin move. I mentioned Dan Duquette with the portion of the Boston Red Sox pregame show on radio. And Jerry Trupiano, the longtime radio guy here in Boston, said, yeah, they're going to come out with a CD at the end of the year, the best of Duke. Opperman swings and misses on a split finger and strikes out. David Cone picks up his second strikeout.
Well, with a couple of men on and a chance to keep this one-run lead, David Cone was not going to let Offerman hit a fastball. Nice block there by Posada. Then another off-speed pitch. That catches the corner 1-2. Backdoor breaking ball just misses, and then another splitter. So he appeared to get 2 curves or sliders and 3 splitters.
And that'll leave it up to Jeff Fry with 2 down. We mentioned Fry missed all of the '98 season, was injured in a spring training drill. They were working on rundowns, and his knee buckled, and that was it for the season. He had already had his other knee worked on in the previous season, so he has had both knees surgically repaired. In 1997, Jeff Fry played 127 games and hit .312 for the Red Sox, and was Mr. Indispensable as far as filling in at different positions. Slider to the corner, a ball and a strike. David Cone trying to work out of a jam here in the third and maintain that 1-0 Yankee lead. There's the Rocket, who was besieged by reporters, as you might expect, coming back to Boston. They were all hoping he would pitch here on Thursday. Popped up to the infield. Derek Jeter near the bag at second, puts it away, and David Cone does get out of the jam. He allows a couple of hits, but no runs here in the third. We have played 3 full innings here at Fenway Park. The Yankees lead 1-0.
Shoot digital. Buy any Sony camcorder, $499 and up, and get 6 months free financing with your Sony Preferred card.
I could be the next Spielman.
Get digital at the Wiz.
I've been eating breakfast at McDonald's for years, and you know, they still find ways to surprise me.
You get more for the money.
McDonald's introduces 3 exciting new bagel sandwiches. The delicious steak, egg, and cheese, hearty ham and cheese, or zesty Spanish omelet. They're baked fresh every day. So come see how McDonald's makes breakfast more irresistible.
You get more for the money, more for the money, 'cause McDonald's treats you right. Did somebody say McDonald's?
Is your brother home from practice yet?
Hey, Mom, what's up?
Jake, isn't the deadline today?
Yep, great news. I turned down a football scholarship so I can pursue a degree in comparative paleobotany.
Need a loan? 1-800-LOAN-NFC. The money you need when you need it. That's National Finance. 1-800-LOAN-NFC.
You can never be sure when you'll witness history, but if you're not there, you can be sure that you won't. Get out there. See the shortstop showdown as Derek Jeter's Yankees renew their rivalry with Nomar Garciaparra's Red Sox at Yankee Stadium, May 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets now at the Yankee Stadium box office, through Ticketmaster, or on the web at www.yankees.com.
1-0 Yankees, top of the 4th inning here at Fenway Park. Yankees have out-hit the Red Sox 6-2. Speaking of hitting, heavyweight boxing returns to the theater on Saturday, June 19th. Don't miss a battle of top heavyweight contenders. One undefeated heavyweight specialist Michael Grant takes on Bronx native Lou Savarese in the fight for the future. Tickets available at the Garden box office, all Ticketmaster outlets, including the Wiz stores, and online at thegarden.com. To charge by phone, call 212-307-7171. That's knockout specialist Michael Grant. Here is Jorge Posada, who was robbed of a hit on a nice play by Garciaparra in the second. Pedro starts him off with a curve, and it's in for a strike. There is Garcia Parra.
Fidgets as much in the field as he does at the plate, doesn't he?
Martinez shakes off one pitch. Now he's ready. Backs him off the plate with a curve, and the count will go to a ball and a strike.
Be interesting if we see more of that this inning, Kenny. Last inning, 15 pitches, 12 of them were strikes, and the Yankees touched him up for a run.
Misses with another hook. 2 balls and a strike. Pedro's only had 1 game this year where he hasn't walked anybody. That's amazing because of the fact he's only walked a total of 11 all year. He has not walked anybody tonight. Manager Jimmy Williams did a good job here with the Red Sox. Outside ball 3. Red Sox last year finished 92-70 under Jimmy Williams. And people have a tendency to forget that was his 2nd best record during the regular season. The Red Sox got the wild card, then lost to Cleveland in the division series. Little looper towards left field. Troy O'Leary is there and makes the catch. And there's 1 down. Aflac trivia question tonight. Who is the only pitcher to strike out 10 Yankees in a game this season? Oh.
Well, if people have been watching the Yankees recently, they'll come up with that one quite easily. We referred to it on our open of our telecast, and that pitcher that did that is pitching tonight.
In fact, he struck out more than 10.
He's pitching a little bit south of here down in Camden Yards.
Little bouncer towards the third baseman, Fry, who charges, throws the first, and there's 2 outs. Jeff Fry was playing in on the grass for Chad Curtis, somewhat surprisingly, because Curtis was hitting shot after shot out of here in batting practice.
Scott Brocious.
2 down, nobody on, and here is Scott Brocious. Called out on strikes back in the 1st inning. Make that the 2nd inning. Brocious had a hit in every game that he played in at Fenway Park last year. That's in for a strike. Went 10 for 21 here at Fenway with a homer. Some parts you just feel comfortable in. And this is one of them if you're a hitter. Tried to check, did he? The appeal? He did not swing, according to Larry Barnett. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's a looper towards center field, and it's a base hit. They didn't get the good wood, but he got the good results. A base hit for Scott Brocious. And now he's hitting 7 in a row here at Fenway. Hit number...
hit number 6. The Yankees, I think, feeling very comfortable. It's like in the pregame meetings, they're saying this guy's only walked 11. He's going to throw it over. Make that hit number 7. And that's why I expect pretty quick here we're going to see Pedro Martinez to go off the plate a little more and make these Yankee hitters feel a little less comfortable.
No, I don't know how you could feel any more less comfortable than Chuck Knobloch. At 1 for 35 now. 0 for 2 tonight. Pedro checks on the runner at first base. Make that 1 for 36 with the 0 for 2. Breaking ball drops in for a strike. 0 for his last 28 at bats against right-handers. Longest since.
Was that Doug Sanders?
Deion Sanders back in 1990. And Deion was a left-handed hitter. Knobloch rips it by Willie Randolph at third. Willie still has the quickness. And I'm amazed that more coaches don't get hit.
That's why they put a lot of those middle infielders down there. Got quick feet.
Happy young lady. Ice cream and a baseball. What else do you need? They don't let it get too far away. It might not come back. Yep, that's it. Knobloch in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. And the drought continues for Chuck Knobloch. Strikeout number 5 for Pedro Martinez. 3.5 have been played. As Knobloch goes down swinging, the Yankees still lead 1-0.
Why do I have Aflac insurance on top of my regular health insurance? Because he has his mother's eyes. Because I still have to teach him to whistle. And because Aflac helps cover what other insurance doesn't. If I'm injured, Aflac even provides cash to help pay bills. So why do I have Aflac? Did I mention he has his mother's eyes? Aflac supplemental insurance. Without it, no insurance is complete.
Kiplinger's magazine named the 99 Mitsubishi Galant E the best new car in its class. So, what will it take to win you over? How about an incredibly low lease of just $209 a month for 39 months? Not to mention air conditioning, automatic transmission, power everything, and more. That's the best new car in its class for one of the best deals in its class. Looks like we win, you win. Mitsubishi's everybody wins a bit. Hurry in for the best deals of the year.
A trip to SeaWorld is a whole new adventure. So why try to capture it with the same old film? Use Fujifilm with Fujicolor technology and leave the ordinary pictures to somebody else.
Work? Piling up? Let's go! That's the perfect time to declare a national holiday. Let's go! National Car Rental's declaring every day a national holiday. Let's go! With our great holiday rates, you can escape to the outdoors. Let's go! Or the golf greens. Or the tropical beaches. Let's go! So call National Car Rental now. Let's go! And declare your own national holiday. What are you waiting for? Let's go! Let's go!
Bottom of the 4th, Yankees clinging to a 1-0 lead against the Red Sox. And tonight we're here on Metro Guide, courtesy of the Yankees. And our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule. Tomorrow we'll be back on MSG at 7 p.m. and then on Thursday, 6:30 on Metro Guide, courtesy of the Yankees once again. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, check the times there. All 3 games will be on MSG. Reggie Jefferson takes a pitch for a strike, and Reggie's a good low ball hitter. But at his first at bat, he was called out on strikes. Another Red Sox player has been plagued by some injuries, had some back problems the last couple of years.
Red Sox, speaking of injuries, made a roster move prior to the game. Scott Hatteberg, one of their catchers, had been bothered by an elbow problem, his throwing arm. He was disabled, and they called up Mandy Romero to take his place.
Our British Airways batting leaders, career at Fenway Park, active players, minimum 100 at-bats. Fred McGriff, Jose Offerman, Wade Boggs, and Reggie Jefferson. What do all those hitters have in common? They can all hit from both. Only Offerman's a switch hitter, but they all hit left-handed, the other guys. And I think while they talk about right-handed hitters here at Fenway Park, I think this is a great park for lefties.
No question. Mentioned a while ago all the batting champions they've had. Actually, Reggie Jefferson was a switch hitter when he came up with the Cincinnati Reds and later with the Mariners. Found out that the left side was his best side. I think you talked about it earlier. When you play in Fenway Park, you see mostly right-hand pitching.
And also, that that left field wall is close for the left-handed hitters too. And this pitch is fouled to the seats. And I think what you can do, you can take the outside pitch the other way.
Carl Yastrzemski, Kenny, when he first came up, what all of a sudden turned him into a Hall of Famer was the inside pitch here at Fenway Park. He used to use that green wall very effectively. Anything outside.
Grounded to the right side. Nice hop for Tino Martinez. He's going to take it himself. Jefferson is gone, leading off the 4th for the Red Sox.
But exactly what you were saying, even a great hitter like Yaz, when he first came up, you could pitch him inside because he tried to take everything the other way. Then all of a sudden he learned to pull the inside pitch. He had that great MVP year in 1967 when he hit 44 home runs. Now all of a sudden he could turn on the inside pitch and take the outside pitch off the monster, and he became a complete hitter.
I think what it does for a left-handed hitter makes you wait on the ball, because you know even if you swing late, you can drive it off the wall in left field. Here is Garciaparra, who flied out to Paul O'Neill in right field in the second. Bouncing ball towards the hole. Jeter a few steps to his right. The strong throw is in time. Derek Jeter. I talked to Jeter before the game about the infield here at Fenway Park, and he says this is the worst infield in the league. He says it's very inconsistent. The hops are not true.
A little clumpy, but you see Derek stayed with that one. Perfect position, plants that back foot, and uses the strong arm to get Garciaparra by plenty.
And you know, I was thinking about the old Boston Gardens, as Troy O'Leary will step in, and he used to say the parquet floor over there had dead spots in it. You had to know where they are, and the Celtics knew where all the dead spots were.
And the live ones.
It might apply the same thing here at Fenway Park.
Well, plus with their new ballpark, and it's been here for so long, they're not going to put probably a lot into redoing this infield with this great pitchers duel. We haven't talked about it a lot, but we will in this series with the plans for the new Fenway right across the street here.
O'Leary with a bouncing ball, Knobloch to his left, closes up the hole, and David Cone, 3 ground ball outs here in the 4th inning. And David Cone with his first, well, his second 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. Yankees lead 1-0. Sunday, and it was Joe Girardi, his usual battery mate, who will get the Corona Extra Effort Award. Look at this play against the White Sox and Maglio Ordonez to flip the Brocious for the out, and it was an all-important play because the Yankees won 2-1.
As Jeter takes strike one, and you would expect that plays like that in this game, somewhere along the line, those little inside the game type plays will determine who might win this one, with it just 1-0. That's outside, and again Jeter now with 2 for 2. Fastball inside corner, fastball away. Let's see if Martinez changing his pitching pattern against him.
Jeter's become, as we have said, more proficient at hitting that inside pitch and hitting it for power. Pedro shook off 2. Jeter got tired of waiting. It was Matt Lawton earlier this year or last year. I think it was last year. Pedro shook off a couple of pitches. When Pedro was ready, Matt Lawton called time and stepped out, and Pedro just nodded his head. The next pitch drilled Matt Lawton, and they were on.
Inside, and it's 3-1 to Jeter. He has not really been in sync with Veritek. We've seen him shake off several times. O'Neill waiting on deck. Paul had a solid base hit.
Should be a pretty good pitch to hit here.
Off-speed pitch. That's what the great pitchers have the ability to do. Cone and Martinez get their off-speed pitches behind in hitting counts. There's Derek Jeter, 3-1. Hoping you get a nice fastball. He gets that great changeup.
The reason why I said it should have been the fastball, because he's leading off the inning, and I would think that Pedro would go with the fastball, but he's a great pitcher.
There's the fastball, and Jeter stays alive.
See, Jeter might have had a better swing at it 3-1 when he was anticipating fastball, but after getting a changeup 3-1, now you're caught in between. What's he going to do? Is he going to double up on the change? That's why he was late on the fastball.
And I don't think he's seen a breaking ball yet. Derek hasn't. And there's the leadoff walk. Martinez tried to run it up and in on him. Joe Torre, if you joined us late, back in the Yankee dugout. Let's check out that Aflac trivia quiz. Who is the only pitcher to strike out 10 Yankees in a game this season? Sure, most of you got it. If you were watching last week, it was Chuck Finley in that 1-0 win over David Cone. Finley is in a good matchup tonight with Mike Messina down at Camden Yards. So the Yankees have their leadoff man on. Martinez has yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. And here's O'Neill. Hit well straightaway center. On the run is Darren Lewis. He's at the wall. He is going to make a great catch against the wall, and Jeter will have to retreat. One of the best fielding center fielders in the game, and he played that perfectly.
He might have come away with a headache, too. But he saved Pedro Martinez a headache. Tracking. You see the padding on the wall, but his head goes above the padding with the leap at the very end. And a nice round of applause, as you might expect, for Darren Lewis. And maybe an aspirin after the inning is over. Paul O'Neill robbed of extra bases.
Jeter's going to get to the bag and then wait. Well, Pedro rubbed that head for him at the end of an inning. Of course, Darren Lewis, for years since he came up with the Giants, known as one of the better fielding center fielders. If you put another just an average center fielder out there and watch the way they play that ball, you'll appreciate what a great catch that was. Here's Bernie Williams as the Yankees continue to swing the bats well against Martinez, having good swings. They have 7 hits and a couple of other well-hit balls like the one O'Neill just drove.
They've had at least 1 hit in every inning against Martinez.
Outside, ball 1. The fact that David Cone had a 9-pitch inning in the 4th was huge, because both these pitchers had to work rather hard in the first 3 innings. So for David Cone to carry the game into the 8th, he needed a couple breather innings, and he got one there in the 4th. Martinez still looking for his first one. Off-speed pitch, low again, 2-0. There's the pitcher's duel down at Camden Yards. Messina and Finland. The Orioles lead it by a run. Sky Dome, they're tied at 3. And Cleveland, who thumped the White Sox last night 13-9, lead. They're surprising Oakland A's. They're tied for first. They lead Kansas City by a run. 3-0.
News out of Baltimore this morning that there was great expectations that Ray Miller was going to be let go yesterday on the off day. Well, not only is he back, he seems to have gotten more power because he's going to make some changes on his pitching staff in Baltimore. And the general manager, Frank Wren, was not involved.
Maybe he'd be the guy to go. That's in for a strike. 3-1. Obviously, disappointment in Baltimore with the Orioles 8.5 games back of the Yankees. Red Sox just a half game back coming into this series. Here's where Martinez has been able to get that changeup over in hitters counts. On the run is Jeter. Pitch outside, ball 4. So 2 walks from a guy who had only walked 11 men in his first 8 starts, has walked 2 in this inning. And Kenny, I think a lot of that, as Joe Kerrigan hustles out to the mound, is the good swings that the Yankees are having at him. He's saying, I just can't challenge these guys like I have other teams.
Well, maybe another thing involved here is the Yankees being able to get themselves into good counts. They don't swing at as many pitches as some of the other teams in the league. And pitching coach Joe Kerrigan out there talking to Pedro. I talked to Joe before the game. He's had Pedro on his staff in Montreal and now here in Boston. And Joe said it's been scary how good Pedro Martinez has been. But maybe not quite as sharp tonight.
Yeah, the fact that he's improved his breaking ball and added the cutter.
The first baseman.
And has struck out 10 or more in 6 straight starts. And the 2 previous starts to that, he struck out 9 men in each one of those games.
But here's a guy who's had 2 good at-bats against him. That fly ball to right was hit well. That's outside for a ball. Martinez walked 3 men against the Tigers and 3 men against the Oakland Athletics in previous starts, but only 11 total. There's your runners. Jeter and Williams both drew base on balls. That's in for a strike to even the count.
Well, a 2 Martinez lunch here. A line drive to right field by Tino. And that will plate Derek Jeter with the game's lone run back in the 3rd inning.
Did that get him in the foot? No, it bounced away from Veritek. And both runners will be able to advance on the wild pitch.
One thing you get when you have pitchers with great stuff, you get pitchers in the dirt. When they're in the dirt, they're tough to handle for the catchers because look at the break on this curve. I mean, very sharp, very quick, and not enough time to get over it and actually block it. So Veritek tries to backhand it. It breaks off his shoulder, goes in the other direction, and the Yankees have runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 out.
Down in the right field corner near the pesky pole and hooking just foul. Significant, I guess, the first opportunity to mention the pesky pole, because when the new Fenway is built in several years across the street, the only obstruction in the whole ballpark for fans, they will keep the pesky foul pole over there.
That's the only foul pole in baseball where the outfielder, the right fielder, plays deeper than the pole.
2-2, and Martinez, Pedro, that is looking for a strikeout. Tino still looking for his first long ball here at Fenway. Off-speed pitch, and he was out in front, but stays alive. And Al Trotway pointed out the other night, where would the Yankees be without Derek Jeter and Chili Davis, who really carried the club in April. But when you see Tino Martinez start to foul off good pitches like that, that was a pitcher's pitch. He fouled it off, stayed alive, and then sometimes you get a better one. You can tell he's swinging the bat much better now. Inside, and this is a rare instance, Kenny, where we talk about pitchers expanding the strike zone by getting ahead of hitters. But the Yankee hitters tonight, because of their swings, have caused Martinez to go outside of the strike zone, something he rarely does. He's walked 2 in this inning, and the count is full to Tino. Ripped. Foul.
Tino had a good swing at a fastball, spoiled a tough changeup, and now pulls a breaking ball foul. So if you're Pedro Martinez, what do? You got a base open and 1 out. Here's the breaking ball on 3-2, and he's right on it. Pulls it foul. He's had a good swing at 2 of his best pitches and spoiled a great changeup. So that's why you have this conference on the mound.
And Veritek again wants to make sure. First base open, 1 out. The Red Sox are leaving the infield back. Jimmy Williams is, with Martinez in the batter's box.
They changed location on the fastball, up and away, and Tino spoiled that one.
Joe Torre picked a good night to get back in uniform. He's seeing a good one. Martinez, Pedro that is, usually a quick worker, and Tino Martinez steps out to slow him down a bit. Another walk, 3 in the inning, and another good at bat by Tino Martinez, and the Yankees have him loaded for Chili Davis.
See the 2 fingers? That means that Jimmy Williams wants the infield to play back for the double play.
Chili Davis.
So Pedro Martinez, his biggest out in the ball game right here in the 5th. His pitch count for him already very, very high, which is going to force Jimmy Williams to use his bullpen in this game earlier than he hoped for.
Chili Davis looking fastball, got the changeup, strike one. Jeter's at third. He drew a walk. So did Bernie Williams, as did Tino Martinez. And Jose Cardinal saying, be alive for the line drive. Don't get doubled off on a line drive. And Chili with respectable numbers with the bases loaded. Looked like a breaking ball, and it's 0-2. That gets the Fenway crowd encouraged.
Watch this one drop straight down. Multiple weapons for both of these pitchers tonight. They can't get you out one way, they'll try another.
Backs him off the plate with a fastball, and it's 1-2. The pattern would lead you to believe, as Posada waits on deck, 2 off-speed pitches and you back him off the plate, come with another off-speed pitch. But at this stage of Chili Davis's career, he handles off-speed pitches better than he does the 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
On Sunday, it was a high changeup that he hit for a home run.
2-2 on another off-speed pitch, and fans trying to give Ed Hickox a little help on that one.
I think about 32,000 umpires here tonight. See the off-speed pitch, change up, just sailed down and away, well away from the strike zone.
Short center, Lewis on the run. Garcia-Parra can't get it. It's going to fall in between them, and all hands are safe as Jeter scores the second run of the ball game. Off the end of the bat, Lewis appeared to get just a bit of a slow jump, and Garcia-Parra made an excellent effort, couldn't come up with it.
Well, somehow that ball fell in between the two. And watch the swing of Chili Davis. Hand comes off the bat. Certainly not deep enough for a sac fly. But Lewis kind of gives way. He's going to let Garcia-Parra make the play. It's a tough play for a shortstop. George Steinbrenner, Yankee owner, looking on. And the reaction from George as the Yankees take a 2-0 lead. And Jeter has scored both Yankee runs tonight.
And Posada steps in. That's in for a strike. Posada didn't agree with that call. I would say that's the most generous strike call that Ed Hickox has shown us all night. Now, Darren Lewis, from our shot, it appeared, and he kept going, he may have had an opportunity.
I don't know if Garcia-Parra said, I got it. I don't believe he would yell that on a play like that. Because of the difficulty making the catch going over your shoulder. And you know what? Derek Jeter could have tagged and scored. It would have been a tough play to throw him out with the shortstop running in the other direction.
Posada, a 3-pitch strikeout. I think that whole at bat, the first strike called on Posada, I think upset him for the entire at bat, and he is a quick strikeout victim. 2 down here in the 5th.
First pitch was a fastball, then 2 curveballs in on his hands, and he goes down on strike. So Pedro Martinez rallies to pick up a strikeout for the second out of this inning.
And now big at bat for Chad Curtis. We mentioned he's hit Martinez fairly well, but it's been 24 at bats since a hit with men on base. That's low for a ball. Martinez has now reached, with 2 out here in the 5th inning, the 100 pitch mark already. So his night is not far from over. That's in for a strike. Jim Corsi, the veteran right-hander, already beginning to loosen in the Boston bullpen. Linda Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt right there. A blue bayou. Wow, that had a little extra.
Chad Curtis checking with Ed Hickox. Was this pitch high? Hickox could have said I heard it, but I didn't see it.
And Martinez one pitch away from getting out of this with just one run. And Curtis stays alive. When you look at the inning, a walk to Jeter, and then Darren Lewis made a remarkable play on the long drive to center field by O'Neill. Then 2 more walks and the bloop by Davis. Martinez has really had to labor in this inning, and yet with a good pitch here can get out with just 1 run. Not much sync. You can see Veritek getting up, going through the signs. He and Martinez have not been on the same page on a consistent basis tonight. Well outside. Yeah, that's the crowd reaction, and that's what umpires around baseball have said. If the catcher sits outside, and I don't know why you would sit outside. I mean, you're just wasting a pitch. But Veritek sits way outside the strike zone and then catches it there. To the crowd, it appears to be a strike, even though it's a foot off the plate. Got him. And a disgusted Curtis throws the bat and helmet away, and Pedro Martinez with back-to-back strikeouts with the bases loaded here in the 5th. With a little damage control and help from his center fielder. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Yankees on top, 2-0.